Let me first start this episode how I feel most media outlets should have started their episodes or their shows yesterday, and that is congratulating the Vegas Aces for winning the WNBA Finals. Look here, I understand that, it's football season. I understand that it's week 2 of the NFL season. I get that. But as media outlets, I feel that we, and I guess you can say that this is a media outlet, I feel that we have an obligation to lift up sports. Yes, I understand the ratings are big when it comes to football. And even if you didn't want to start your episode or start your show off with WNBA, at least respect the WNBA Finals. Because a lot of media outlets, some media outlets that I work for, some media that I don't feel like they gave it the proper attention that it needs. Again, you don't have to start your episode with it, but I feel respect the WNBA Finals the same way you respect the NBA Finals, the same way you respect the Super Bowl, the same way you respect the NHL Final or Stanley Cup, the same way that you respect the MLB Championship. The fact that a lot of people don't even know that the Vegas Aces just won the WNBA Finals is a disservice, in my opinion, to media. Sports media. Let's say sports media. Because again, I understand shows are about ratings. I get that. I get that wholeheartedly. But it doesn't, and I wouldn't be upset if you started yesterday's or if you started any episode, after Sunday about football. I get that. But at least respect at least give the WNBA its proper respect, because that's how I feel. So we talk about, how we can grow something. And to me, it's a collective effort. Yes, I understand. I don't feel the marketing department for the WNBA does the best job as far as, or scheduling or whatever it is. I don't think they do the greatest of jobs, but I do think that it's a collective effort. Just like they say it takes a community to raise a child, I think that it takes as sports media, you have an obligation. If it's a legit sport, I feel you have an obligation to talk about it. Doesn't mean you have to talk about it for long, but to go a whole day, a whole 2 days, and not even address that a team just won a finals in their respective sport is crazy to me. That's crazy, man. I know I feel like I'm starting this on a rant, but it's just it's not cohesive to you say that people say that they're sports fans and people say that they want to talk about sports, yet and still when we have a champion, whether you could like WNBA or whether you can like basketball or not, whether you can like the WNBA or not, that doesn't mean you don't address it. That doesn't mean you don't acknowledge it. And I know, I'm ranting at this point, but to sit and watch media outlet after media outlet not even address the WNBA Finals is crazy. Again, you don't have to watch it, but I feel if you're a sports media outlet, you have an obligation to at least tell your audience, hey, yo, there was just a champion that was birthed. You know what I'm saying? A champion that was crowned. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But let's get right. Congratulations to the Vegas Aces for winning the WNBA Finals. This was a special year for the Aces in general. You had Becky Hammon, her first time coaching. You had Aja Wilson, the second player to win not only an MVP, a Defensive Player of the Year, but also win the finals. Cheryl Swoops did it, I believe, in 2002. Jackie Young won Most Improved Player. What was it? Yeah, Most Improved Player. And now you have Chelsea Gray, who won the Finals MVP. This was one of the best seasons for a team that you can imagine. They also won the Commissioner's Cup. It was kind of bound for the Vegas Aces to win. When you have arguably the best player in the sport in Aja Wilson, you have a player that knows how to win in big games and championship games in Chelsea Gray. You had Kelsey Plum, who has a remarkable story come from injury and the 3-on-3 USA to then to come back. And it's Becky Hammon being the first coach, I think, ever to win your first year as a coach. And she also came back to the team. Well, of course, has been relocated, but came back to the team that she played for. It was just bound for the Vegas Aces. And the crazy thing is, man, all of these players are under contract, so they will be here next year. It was destined for them, man. I said on this podcast how A'ja Wilson will go down as one of the greatest women's basketball players ever, and she continues to add to her resume. Chelsea Gray will go down as one of the best. She's, again, finals MVP, I think 2-time champion at this point. And I do want to give credit. Shouts out to the Connecticut Sun. Alyssa Thomas, she became the first player in WNBA history not only to have 2 back-to-back triple-doubles in the WNBA finals, but first player ever to have back-to-back triple-doubles. I went to the game. So I went to game 5. I went to game 4. Game 4, the one that they won it all. The Vegas Aces won it all. And watching Alyssa Thomas, I was just like, and I said to a friend that I was with, I'm like, yo, she is a better version of Patrick Beverley. Like, that's just how it is. She scraps. She does all the little things, even though she shoots with one hand. Like, it's... And... talking about the Connecticut Sun, they're talking about, so they've been knocking on the door for the longest. They've been knocking on the door for the past few years now. And you ask yourself, what has to change? Because you keep knocking on the door, but you never break through. I mean, you went to the WNBA finals. I think you went to the WNBA finals like 2 years ago. I know that they lost the WNBA finals to the Washington Mystics, I believe in 2019. And it's like, the team is good. DeWanna Bonner, Jonquel Jones, Alyssa Thomas. Like, it's a good team. It's just, that's why I think, now I'm never really for, unless it's like a toxic environment, I'm never really for firing a coach. Like, at the end of the day, the coach ain't playing, you're playing. But sometimes it is true that you lose the locker room as far as they stop listening. Like, you lose the air. When you hear someone for so long, sometimes you can lose the locker room. Now, that's not always the case. But I just think, I think that there has to be changes for the Connecticut Sun, because you can't keep getting there and you can't keep knocking on the door on the precipice of winning and you don't. Like, especially when you have a reigning MVP or a former MVP now in Jonquel Jones. You have Bria Jones, who Maryland product, by the way. I think she won six Woman of the Year. Like, I don't know, man. But I do want to congratulate the Vegas Aces. I feel they're going to be back. I feel this could be, I think, first team since Cheryl Swoops in the comments. I believe, I could be wrong, but one of the few teams to go back to back. When you have all the pieces, you have all the players, they're just going to get better. A'ja Wilson is A'ja Wilson. Chelsea Gray is Chelsea Gray. Jackie Young, I think she's going to get better after winning the Most Improved. I think and let me also attack a point that I've heard since the Vegas Aces won the finals. Let's not get it twisted, and let's not get it confused here. Becky Hammon is good enough to coach men's basketball. You can't tell me the coaching job that you saw her do for the WNBA, and also what she did for the G League. I mean, yeah, she did. She was like coaching at least a lot of summer league games for the Spurs. You can't tell me that she's not good enough to be a NBA coach. You see, I know that there's a stigma that the reason why women can't coach men is because men don't or they feel a male won't respect a woman's output or a woman's views on something that they don't do, i.e. play men's basketball. But it doesn't matter whether you're a man, whether you're a woman. If you know the game of basketball and you can teach the game of basketball and you can explain the game of basketball and you can scheme the game of basketball, then you can be a coach. And as we've seen with Becky Hammon, she was by far the best coach in the WNBA. By far the best coach this year. Though, yes, I know I hear a lot of people, look at the team she had. She had, she had 3 former number 1 overall picks. Okay. You know who else had multiple number 1 overall picks on their team and didn't win? The Seattle Storm. Now, I'm not saying that's coaching. But what I'm saying is you can have a bunch of number 1 overall picks, but that doesn't automatically mean that you're going to win. You need to play. Seattle Storm had Breanna Stewart, who was arguably the best player in the league, Sue Bird, and Jackie Young, and Tina Charles, and didn't win. Now, again, I'm not attributing that to coaching, but what I'm saying is that doesn't matter if you have a whole bunch of number 1s. You have to put it together. Becky Hammon is the best coach in the WNBA. It's not really close in my opinion. And she's good enough to coach men. Because if you can step into an arena that is your first time, i.e. coaching a professional, like an actual professional team, and in the first year you win a championship, like what they gonna say now? The Vegas Aces, this was their year. They deserved everything that they had this year. They deserved all the praise, all the accolades. Aja Wilson is one of, I think it's 1A, 1B as far as the best players in the WNBA. I don't think it's really. I know Jonquel Jones just won or what was last year's MVP, but I think there's a gap between 1 and 2 and then like 3 and 4. You can argue Elena Deladon. You can argue, like I said, Jonquel Jones. There's a bunch of people that you can argue for it. Candace Parker still up there. But I just think that there's a clear-cut number 1 and number 2. And it's really like you can, no matter who you pick between 1 and 2, I wouldn't be mad between Aja Wilson and Breanna Stewart. They're just, to me, that it's just a clear-cut. But, again, congratulations to the Vegas Aces for winning the WNBA championship. Shouts out to Chelsea Gray for winning the finals or WNBA finals MVP. And I'm sure we will see them again next year.